North Carolina. I don't know why I'm singing right now. Hello, everybody. I'll get situated. It's a little backlit, but I didn't want to bring my lights out. Hopefully you can see fine. Trying to get it even. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing like real nitty gritty, back to the basics. So I have like the vinegar out. I just want to show you guys the vinegar. I've got my Judy's egg white powder. I'm just gonna go from scratch. Judy's from scratch. That's like their line. Okay. Hi from Kenya. Let me get this going. Deep breaths. Who is actually baking? Hi, Celia. Who's gonna bake with me? And who's watching? Woot, vinegar. Olga's here. Hello from Mexico. Lisa, good afternoon from Massachusetts. Patricia from New York. Hello. Yes. Hi, Amy. Hi, Dora. Good to see you guys. You're filling your macarons. I made some vegan buttercream strawberry yesterday with the Judy's strawberry powder, which is just freeze-dried fruit, but it's already pulverized for you. I'm loving it because it's my least favorite. It's only one step. Don't be lazy, Nicole. But it's my least favorite to like pulse this and get it ground up, because then I have to clean out that dish. So it's already powder. Yeah. So and then I made a passion fruit buttercream. Hi, Sophie. I made a passion fruit buttercream with this passion fruit. I'm trying just different recipes. Passion fruit juice powder. So I made a simple syrup per their directions on the back. This is, again, Judy's. This is the kind of egg white powder that I love to use. So they're in Ohio, their company. And if you're looking for very quality ingredients, I should say, they work out of a non-gluten, like nut-free, gluten-free facility. So if you're worried about gluten, because nuts, we have them in macarons, so that's probably not what you're mostly concerned about. But if you are trying to be a gluten-free baker, this facility is all gluten-free, so it's awesome. You can count on them to be allergy friendly with whatever you're making. So there's a passion fruit syrup recipe on the back. I tried making that, and then I put it into a buttercream. Wasn't intense enough. I need to like cook down the simple syrup a little more in order for it to actually have flavor. But I also tried it in a ganache. So I just made it, so it's not hard enough yet, but I want to see how the flavors, like if it sings through or if I need to add more, because I switched to some of the cream for the passion fruit juice. We'll see. I like testing things. You don't know until you try, right? Okay, you guys are talking. Amy, one of your flavors is strawberry? Did you do like a Swiss meringue buttercream, or did you do American buttercream with freeze-dried fruits? I want to know how you get your strawberry flavoring. Nice to see you, Sophie. Steffi, hello. Good to see you. I baked mine 2 days ago. Nice. Oh, you got a baby shower. You've been on a roll, Amy. Let me see if I can clean this off. Swiss meringue buttercream. Ooh, with freeze-dried fruits. Swiss meringue is my favorite, guys. Why have I been lazy and not doing it? Did I do something wrong? I don't think that helped. Chocolate and blackberry. Together or separate? Diana, hello. Doing late night lemon macarons there. Oh, well, good evening to you. Good late evening. Dora, thank you. You're always so good at saying like and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. It really helps with the whole YouTube algorithm stuff. Okay, I was a little early, but I think we're about at 11 now. Yeah, a couple minutes away. We are doing separate. Okay, blackberry and chocolate separate. I like it. Hi, princess. I like just calling you princess. I did peach and brown sugar. Stop. Brown sugar buttercream. Or brown butter buttercream. Yes, please. That sounds amazing. Like that's one of my favorite, like the cobblers. Peach cobbler with the brown sugar. My mouth is salivating, actually. Okay. Couple things. If you're subscribed to my newsletter, you knew I was hoping to have my Sugar Art gel colors by now. I don't yet, but I'll have to do another live showcasing those. So I am going to make a yellow. I haven't made yellow macarons forever. So I'm gonna use the powdered color, but then I thought I would brush on, I do have some Chef Master gel paste colors. So I think I'm gonna brush on and up the sides of my piping bag, that's what it's called, and make it a little bit of a swirl effect. And I'm gonna be using these amazing, so Candace, Queen's Eye, is it 70? I need to figure out her handle, but she made these, and she calls them cookie pokes instead of scribes, and I love it because that's what we do in macarons. We're just poking our little cookie shells, right, and getting those bubbles out. She made these scribes, so I'm gonna try them out today too. I haven't baked for so long. I'm so excited. Hi, Brandy. Was that? Yes. Hi, Brandy. So yeah, I know. Aren't they adorable? She has more. I think she would sell them. So touch base with Candace. Queen's Eye 70, I believe. Aren't they adorable? And they're so quality, like, and you just feel like, I don't know. I just feel so special holding it. Please post the link. Okay, Amy, I will. I'll give you her handle. Because I'm on my phone streaming right now, I can't look up her handle, but I will definitely post it after. Okay, so we're making a full batch. If you have the ebook, it's the same recipe as that. We're doing 100 grams of egg whites, and then 90 grams of sugar. You could use caster sugar. Some recipes call for that, and that's just because it dissolves a lot faster, which is awesome, but it's also more expensive, so the price point is not where I like to spend. I just use regular granulated sugar. Oh, thank you, Maria. Thanks for being here. Granulated sugar, and then I have my Judy's egg white powder mixed in and dispersed in with my sugar. So, hi, Affy. Been a while since I've seen you here too. So this is the egg white powder. I had this awesome person who had bought, I think it was Italian meringue recipe, my ebook, and accidentally she got a whole egg powder. So Judy's does have a few other things. So make sure it's dried egg whites only. You don't want the whole egg dried up because that will have the yolk, which has fat, and it's gonna destroy your meringue. So make sure it's only egg whites. And with that, it's not the same as meringue powder. Meringue powder has a whole bunch of other things. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Affy. This is just 100% dried egg whites. All right, and then, so I use 2 grams of that. It's not very humid here. And so that's egg white powder into my 90 grams of sugar. And then I am using for the first time my King Arthur almond flour, which, who was it that recommended it last time? I've heard a few people that have used it now and are like, yes, it's amazing. But I forget who recommended it on the last live, and I was like, I'm going to get it. This is my first time using it. I just have to say, it smells amazing. When you open up, yes, okay, Celia, it so good. It just smells like almonds, and that's when you know it's gonna be good, right? You want the flavor. Amy, the price point was, oh gosh, this is bad. Anyone know? It's not as cost effective for sure as your Blue Diamond or Costco, but you can actually smell the almonds, and I don't usually get that when I get my Costco brand, which is fine. I mean, it still tastes great, but I can tell that this is gonna have more fresh almond flavor. But I'm excited to try it. So we've got 130 grams of almond flour, 130 grams of confectioner sugar. I sifted them both in here, and then I whisked them together just to be homogeneous. I've said it before, but the almond flour has fat, so if you kind of coat it with your confectioner sugar, you're gonna keep your meringue good for a little bit longer and not get that fat directly on the meringue right away. The point in that is just to give yourself more time and control over your deflating process, your macaronage, which is always a good thing, especially when you're learning, because the quicker it deflates, the less time you have to fully incorporate your dries, and then you could have some lumps in it still, and it just isn't at the right consistency yet. I would say so I haven't tried it yet, Amy, but the smell is comparable to Trader Joe's. Yeah, like you can actually smell the almonds in Trader Joe's, which I loved Trader Joe's, but we don't have that up here. I'm trying to find here. Also, in my thank you, it's $10 a pound, which is, I think, what is this? 3 pounds for almost the same. It's $11 up here for the Kirkland brand. But when I open up my almond flour, I actually do smell a bit of almond, but you have to kind of dig deep with your nose. And then let me get my almond. ¿Dónde está? Here it is. Sorry, guys. I'm still here. Here's the King Arthur almond flour. You can just smell it right away when you open it. All that to be said, I haven't used it yet, so we'll see, but everyone sings its praises, so I was excited to try it. And always a reputable brand as well. King Arthur is, I mean, I exclusively use their flours for my breads and pastries, just because it's, you know what you're getting. Yeah, so this is like no affiliate or anything, just I'm excited to try. I love the price point though of Costco, but if you've sifted Costco flour recently, you get so much excess in your sifter, and I got nothing left in my King Arthur. Nothing was left in my sieve. It all went through. It's extra finely ground, so it's really smooth. Okay, that's all the ingredients. I'm gonna turn on my oven just because, and then I've got my silk pats, and they've all been wiped down with vinegar. Same with my bowl that has my egg whites in it. I wiped it down with vinegar first, just to get all the excess fat off. If you don't have vinegar, this is super cheap at the store, like a huge thing is probably like $3. But if you have lemons lying around, the acid on a lemon will clean the fat right off of your products as well. Okay, I think that's everything. can use parchment for sure. You just need to know that when you're baking, parchment and silicone will be at different temperatures. You'll have to find that right sweet spot in your own oven. I usually shoot for 300 Fahrenheit in my ovens, and then I have to drop down in my ovens to like 275 in order to keep them around 300 when I'm baking. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, you're right. Brandy is right. King Arthur has sales a lot, and they have this baker reward stuff that once you have a certain amount of points, you get things off, and they do send, especially in Alaska where like the stores don't have a ton, and King Arthur flour is really expensive up here. Actually purchasing it from King Arthur directly and having it shipped is more cost effective, because a lot of times they'll have free shipping deals too. So I mean, if you try King Arthur almond flour and love it, there's definitely ways to make it work. Oh, okay. Celia said that she's tried Trader Joe's and King Arthur and likes King Arthur better. So I'm really excited to try and see the flavor difference, because I loved Trader Joe's. I thought it was just so much brighter of a flavor than the Costco or Blue Diamond. But again, price point sort of like wins out when you're cooking and trying to make a business. Because it's not bad. I'm not saying the other ones are bad. It's just like a certain standard. You could also charge for way more a cookie if you want to have that super almond forward flavor from the good almond flour. Okay. Okay. So that's a lot of talk. Something in your shopping cart for you to, yeah. If you leave, yeah, you're like, oh, you left something in your shopping cart. Here's a $10 coupon. Buy it. Okay. I'm going to get started. So we've got everything talked about, right? Now let's start. I've got everything prepped. As you saw, those were the sheet pans. This is my reusable piping bag. You can use plastic, whatever. You can use sandwich bags. It just doesn't come out as controlled. And I have a 9mm tip, which is about equivalent to a Wilton 12. And then whenever you put it in to something, if you have plastic, twist the bottom and put it up in your cup. So then when you pour in your batter, it's not gonna start flowing out. These don't twist as well and stay, so I just flip it up and it's sufficient. And then you're ready to receive the batter. Have all that ready, because as I said, we're doing French method macarons, which means we're making a French meringue, and that is going to be the least stable of all the other meringues. It doesn't mean it's it's not like it's not sufficient. Like, it's a great meringue and it makes a great macaron. I like the crunch of the French macaron over the Italian method macaron. A little bit less sweet in my opinion, but it does depend on what recipe you're using, of course. But yeah, it's just not as stable of a meringue, and that's why we take all the precautions of mixing in your almond flour with your confectioner sugar, having the fat taken off of all of your bowls and stuff, just so that you can ensure you are set up for success and you're giving yourself as much time as possible to work in those dry ingredients and not destroy your meringue before you mix it all in. Okay, starting my oven. I'm gonna put you guys up real close to my mixer. I'm using my KitchenAid because I'm using a large enough batch where I like to use the KitchenAid. It's not as tall as I would like. I'm just gonna get it nice and foamy, and then I'm gonna sprinkle in, trying to like show you guys. So there's the egg whites. I'm gonna get foamy and then sprinkle in the sugar. I still need to like readjust my KitchenAid. We were talking about that last time too. I haven't done it. And it needs some servicing. These are at room temperature, the eggs. I cracked them yesterday, so they didn't really age that much. But that's why I use egg white powder too. Egg white powder is extra protein that's added to your meringue that's gonna help the structure be strong. So I'm not as worried about getting rid of excess liquid and concentrating those proteins that are in the liquid ones because I'm adding my own proteins. So we're here, we're mixing. I'm gonna start adding my sugar at this point. Nice and has some bubbles and foamy. A lot of people will say don't stop your mixer. You can keep it going. I just really hate when the sugar gets on the whisk and then gets all over the sides of the bowl, so I try to go fast. And I'll stop it quickly. Just give it about 30 seconds to incorporate, and then we'll add our second addition. Sorry, it's against the camera, but okay. Keep those little bubbles. The whole point right now is just to dissolve our sugar and egg white powder into the liquid. We don't want to add volume yet. Yes, 100 grams of egg whites, Patricia. Hi, Mary. Oh, yeah, Celia answered the question right, sorry. Yes, about 3 to 4, depending on how large your eggs are. Eggs will make 100 grams. Steffi, especially with meringue, excuse me, with the meringue based product, the reusable bags are so easy to clean. I find it harder when I put in like a chocolatey filling, something really fatty. That's a little bit harder to get out, but you just soak it in some hot water with mild detergent and then kind of scrub the inside or pull it out. I mean, I use it for everything, so I really like the reusable piping bags. These ones specifically are a little smaller if you're doing large batch. New York Cakes or something has those really large piping bags that might be better. Oh, Amy, your poor mixer. I hope he does a very good job with your mixer though. She's in good hands. Okay. So we're mixing and we're getting the sugar dissolved. At some point you start to just be able to tell. Sorry, I know it's loud. But if you want, you can feel the stream of the egg whites. And if you feel granulars of sugar, keep just whisking at a low speed. If it's all dissolved, it's time to move up and start to develop some volume. So that was nice. I'm gonna go to a 4. I'm gonna start to develop the volume. I'm also gonna add my yellow colorant right now. This is the Sugar Art. Sorry, I don't think it's Sunshine, Master Elite. I don't think it's focusing, but a little bit goes a long way with these. You do not need to add a lot. and I don't like super vibrant colors. So I don't usually add a ton. It's gonna look like a super vibrant in the beginning, but then it aerates a bit and will lighten. So if you want a super dark color, put a good amount in. Okay, I'm gonna put that back up to the 4 and get some good development and volume. Ooh, Brandy, ice cream is the perfect combo. Ice cream and macaron. You could do ice cream sandwiches too. Ice cream macaron sandwiches. Patricia, I recommend 3 to 4% of the liquid egg whites to powdered egg whites. So for 100 grams, using like 3 grams of egg white powder would be good. I am not in a humid environment, so I even go lower. I did 2 grams today to my 100 grams of liquid egg whites. Okay, so we don't have much volume here, but we are looking, the bubbles are now really small, so it's developing some structure, and then it will start to really get that volume. So I'm gonna go to a 6. I'm gonna put this down because I'm shaking you guys all over. Just trying to get you in the bowl a little bit. This is my least favorite part because of the noise. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, it's a sunny color, right? Hi, Judy from Illinois. So, on Ghana, and if you don't have egg white powder in India, you could definitely, like I texted in the chat, age your egg whites and make sure you're getting them down, and then don't scale them till after they've aged a couple days out at room temp. So then you're really reducing the liquid and you're upping the protein content in your mixture, and that's going to help make a strong, stable meringue. Or you could add cream of tartar, which helps in a different way strengthen your meringue. It stabilizes it, the acid stabilizes it, whereas the egg white powder strengthens it. And like, those are kind of, they're helping it in 2 different indirect ways, but they're helping the meringue. And cream of tartar will be less. For 100 grams of your egg white powder, use 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar to 1/2 teaspoon. Yeah, definitely follow Amy's example. Putting it into a container, putting saran wrap over it, and poking a few holes so that the evaporation can be released. You don't want it in an airtight container. Okay guys, we're starting to get volume now. It's not just liquid anymore, right? You can see some striations, that's good. We're slowly developing some strength and some volume. We're gonna go till it's really stiff. I'm gonna go up from the 6 to like a 7 or 8. Celia, thank you. You're the best. I appreciate you. You are so supportive and so fun to have in the chat. Diana, yes, it is normal for macaron shells to have a crunch, and then it will soften once your filling is in there, but you still want that outside. They call it like an eggshell exterior. You still want that to have a little crunch and then the middle to be softened by your filling. And that's why maturing is so important, which is the process of after you fill, putting them in an airtight container and letting them sit in the refrigerator for 24 to 48 hours to allow that flavor to sink into the shells and soften it and just make that bite like one bite instead of biting down and having the filling squish out. If you've done like filling and taking a bite right away, it's completely different than filling, waiting 2 days and then tasting. Amy, I'm happy you're here. Just got paid Friday night, party's hopping, feeling fine. Okay, so this is when we start to really watch what's going on in the meringue, right? You can see that it's starting to hold in the whisk a bit, and I kind of watch the outside to see how well it stays put once the whisk has moved. I'm not quite where I want it to be, but I'll show you guys. If you slow it down, it is stiff, but I want it a little bit stiffer because it's more just in the center there. It is pretty stiff actually, but I'm gonna go for a tiny bit longer. See how more of like a mild sunshine it is now? I like that. Just simply because it's like more of a natural looking color. But yeah, this is really stiff, and I actually might. It's stiff on the sides. I'm gonna stop here. What you want to do is you want to make sure it's not just stiff right in the center, which I thought was happening, but it actually does look really nice and stiff everywhere. In the bowl, it's keeping shape. The sides aren't like toppling on top of itself. When you're doing French meringue, you want it to be as stiff as that. You don't want it to be you don't want it to be softer. Whereas like when you're doing Italian meringue, I like a little droop. So this is nice and stiff. We're gonna go with it, okay? So that's the French meringue. I like to switch over to a wide-mouthed bowl. You can also start putting your dries right into the KitchenAid bowl if you'd like. It's personal preference for me. When I'm first teaching, I always recommend not using the KitchenAid for your mixing and dries. But once you get really comfortable and you want to speed up the process, then You could even switch to a paddle attachment and mix in your dries as you're whisking up, and then kind of finish by hand. And that can save a lot of wrist, carpal tunnel issues and such. I'm a sucker for control. I want to touch it. So I'm gonna do it by hand. I'm gonna get one more bowl. All right. Here we go, here we go, here we go. So we've got my bowl. I'm gonna switch this over to this wide-mouthed bowl. Should be a nice plop. Not too much movement in your meringue at this point. I'm gonna get as much as possible because every gram is accounted for in your recipe, so you want every gram in the recipe, if that makes sense. Like, you don't want too much left over in that bowl. Okay, so just gonna kind of push it down and give it a little surface area for my dries. Put in a third or so and just fold it in. I can't not think of the Schitt's Creek episode with like folding in the cheese anymore, but the best scene on television ever. Control is a Virgo thing, yes. Amy, why we have to be so much? Yes, it is, isn't it? Okay. Amy and I are both Virgos, just if that wasn't clear. I'm simply just like patting in the dries is what I usually say. And then you want to clean off your spatula every once in a while. It's not fully incorporated, but I don't want to deflate right now. So I'm just like kind of getting it, just kind of touching in different areas, right? And just making sure it's not a paste at the bottom. Like, make sure it's kind of getting incorporated, and you can still see dries on the bottom and around. That's fine. I always like say about 70-75% in, and then add your second addition or third, however many additions you're doing. The more additions you do, the more likely you're going to be mixing more. So I usually don't suggest more than 3 additions. But you also, if you do it all at once, sometimes it can be hard and you get lumps because it's not incorporated well. So that's why I kind of disperse it between 3 and then hope for the best. I can smell the almond flour, you guys. It just smells so good. I'm excited. Makes me feel like kind of bad that I'm okay with the other stuff, but honestly, price point. Almonds are expensive in general. So it really is an important aspect, especially if you have a business. Okay, so that's still like not incorporated well, but I'm gonna add this last addition, and then we'll start to really get it, make sure it's all in, and then deflate. Hi from Denmark. So, as you can see, it's still like a big ball, right? It's a big fluff ball. It is not flowing. We still have a lot of air that's in the meringue, so that's a good thing. I'm just cutting through the center and around and trying to make sure all the flour on the sides of the bowl goes just into that meringue. And it looks really strange, I know. Like, still not all incorporated yet. So I'm still not gonna deflate purposefully yet. My goal is to get all that flour to look like it's one with our meringue. It's not gonna be smooth, but it will just be more like this. making lemon buttercream. So, you know what? That's a great question, Linda. Linda asked if you're doing like a lemon buttercream and a lemon curd, should you also put some lemon extract into your macaron shells? It's not needed, and thus I never added flavor unless it was like some crumbs into my batter, because the whole thing with a macaron is it soaks up the filling so well that you don't necessarily have to give that shell more flavor. And especially with a liquid flavoring, it can start to make it a little more brittle in texture. So I always steered clear, but you can. There are lots of recipes that do say add vanilla extract, or, you know, you can add flavors to it. You just have to be careful. And I just find it's not worth it. Okay, here we go. All of the dries are incorporated. It's not like a smooth mixture, but it's not flowing. We haven't lost all its structure yet, so that's great. I have ample time to now deflate to the consistency that I want, right? And if you've heard people talk about it, so I'm gonna push down, they talk about like that lava consistency, and that's what we're gonna go for, like a ribbon stage kind of thing. So I'm just pushing up against the wall. People do this in different ways. Some will spread it all over all of the surfaces of the wall. I like one area of contact, and then I just I tumble it, and then one area of contact, tumble. And just make sure you continuously scrape the bottom of that bowl so everything is getting incorporated. I feel like I've been doing the vegan macarons and then Italian method more. So my summer macarons were French method. So but it's just, I feel like this is nice to have this consistency. I'm used to this more so than when I'm trying potato protein and stuff. Okay, so it's getting smoother. If I were to stop, it would spread a tiny bit in my bowl. It's not spreading too much yet, so I'm gonna keep going. You can also check by doing this. It's starting to flow and looking smooth, so I'm gonna do a little bit more. I want it to be a continuous flow. You can't always bank on that though, because different spatulas will have things flow off. Like, this is a pretty wide spat. If you're more used to a thin, like, it won't flow off as at the same rate and stuff, so it can be hard to mimic someone else's flow. All right, we're getting closer. Little quarter turns of the bowl to make sure you're going all the way around, but still in that same spot is my point of contact, like where I press out. That looks good to me. So it's still thick, but it's flowing fairly fast. Not like rapid, but it's not super slow where I have to like coax it, you know, to go. And it still builds up on itself a bit and then starts to disperse and kind of flatten out. This is where I stop. Some people will go a little further. They want it to be like more flat once it's piped. I like a little bit more leeway to pad out the like little nipples that happen after piping or whatnot. So I like that. It kept some striations, but it will, once it's also worked through my piping bag, it loses a little bit more of its thickness. So that's where I like to stop. Maybe I'm holding it too tight. Oh, yeah, interesting, Brandy. I wonder if it's, so it hurts your hand or your wrist. So I'm gonna put this gel paste and just do a tiny little bit on this, and I'm gonna make one line of the coloring up and down there, and then on this side, and we'll see if it does. I did a very light amount, so we'll see if it comes off on our batter like it's designed to. All right. So here we go. Batter in. I'm gonna just leave, if you have extra batter, I'll show you the appropriate thing to do. Usually I just leave it in the bowl, but if you're in a dry environment, it can dry out quickly. You can get a tea towel and kind of cover it so your batter stays at its most beautiful time. Like, that's gonna help it a little bit from drying out. Let's pipe some macarons. Actually, this one just goes straight into my little convection toaster oven. So I'm gonna do this one, which is just an aluminum pan. And I turn it upside down for better airflow in my oven. I have a convection setting in my electric oven, like house oven, but I do not find that it cooks it as well. So, see that little stripe that we painted? So if it is the passion fruit, I think this is a good depiction. Or we could do like banana, cherry, or you know, like a banana split. What else would be a good yellow, pink, reddish flavor? Lemon and raspberry. The edges of the spatula. Interesting. Brandy, I'll have to look at the, kind of feel the spatula and see what that could be. So I'm just going straight down, 90-degree angle, and going to about, so there's like a 1/4 of an inch left in my circle. And then once I tap it out, it kind of will spread. They're not all exactly the same, but I try. I like the other mats that have the dotted line. My bigger mats have that, but my bigger mats only work on my air bake trays. And I really only prefer the air bake lately for my Italian method macarons. All right, second edition. This whole batch would fit into these 12-inch piping bags, but it tends to get a little messy, so that's why I try to do it right this time. I'm usually impatient and will just fill the whole thing, but trying to show, because we're doing basics, the right way to do things. And then, you know, as you continue to do things, you'll take shortcuts and you'll figure out what works best for you, and that's okay. I remember after pastry school, I was like, no, you can't do that. That's not how we learned. You know, like I was just so stuck on what I learned and the path that needed to be had. And then you start to learn like, oh, that's just because it's like the optimal way of doing it. But if that's not working, you know, and this is way easier or it doesn't hurt as much, Like there are shortcuts to be had that are worth it, that make just as good of a product. All right, here's our first tray. Sorry, I saw a little crumb on there. Now, we can use our little cookie poke from Candace. If you're doing shaped macarons, you don't have to pound out the tray, tap out the tray, whatever you want to call. Like, if you don't want to lose the shape, don't do it. You might have some air bubbles inside that aren't like completely taken out, but it's a myth that it will make your macarons crack if you don't tap out the tray. It's not going to do that. So I'm just poking sometimes they'll naturally pop. And so I'm just kind of making the shell top look cohesive and smooth. And sometimes you have to pop them yourself, like that one. See how once I piped, they didn't really fill the circle, but now they're filling the circle because they spread out a bit, and then the pounding of the tray helps to really smooth out the top too. Ooh, that was a big one. I hate how you guys, I wish I had a better camera for these lives. They could see the satisfying popping. Okay, I'm gonna let these dry, pipe the rest of my batter, and put those in no rest method into my little toaster oven. Candace, I love the cookie poke. It's like I don't want to stop. Usually I don't even take my time with this, but it's like in style, why would you not? Okay. I'm gonna be done. Stop doing it. Sorry guys, I get obsessive. This is why I don't like to start things, because I get obsessive once I do like commit to something. Okay, these are going to rest. My house does feel a little humid, which is not typical. So I was doing laundry, I was being very lenient. Hopefully it doesn't affect anything. Okay. Oh, the color looks nice. Thank you. Ma'am. Yeah, Brandy, I'm just curious because pink lemonade, Amy, yeah. I don't want your hands to hurt, you know, like that's something that would be nice to figure out. So I have, this mat is one of my favorites because it's nice and thin, but I hate that they're not staggered on the mat because airflow isn't as good when you have them piped straight. Staggered is always better. So just be careful if you have a temperamental oven, if you have a mat like this, that you might need to like not do this and this right by each other and this one, because airflow might be poor getting to all the sides to have your even feet develop. If that makes sense. Some of our ovens can be brats. Okay, a little more subtle on this half with the stripe, but I like it. Now I kind of want lemon raspberry or like pink lemonade. I love like banana cream cheesecake or something, but I don't love fake banana flavors. So I've never done a banana macaron. So I wouldn't know how to get good banana flavor without it being too soggy or mushy. Okay, I think I have room for, there's like a slight uptick of these mats, or the pan, so I just don't want it to be piped onto that and then have it be crooked. Bench scraper to get all that batter up. All right. Gently tap it out. If you want, you can, if you're not like, if this hurts, because these types of pans are French steel and they are pretty heavy and they can hurt your wrist, you can get a cloth to kind of protect your counter and then tap it down. And then you can get, if you don't have a scribe or a cookie poke, just use a toothpick if you do want to poke out these little holes. I definitely, if you're doing character macarons, suggest having some type of scribe tool or a toothpick, because you're going to want to help aid in your shape, like fill in the space with it. It's really helpful. All right, this is gonna go, because it's a good little convection oven, I don't need to rest these. The airflow is good enough where the fan will dry off the top and then allow for the macarons to rise properly. Whereas if you don't have that initial drying effect on top, you'll have rise before dry and then it rises and cracks. So that's why we rest our macarons usually, is to form that skin, that shell, over your macarons so that they rise properly and develop the feet. But if you have a good convection oven, you actually don't even need to. Or if you have air bake trays, they're insulated. Hi Dawn! If you have air bake trays, they're insulated on the bottom, so they allow for really slow heat to hit the bottom, and that is what is going to dry out, allow for the oven to dry out the tops before the heat hits the base. And so that's why they don't crack when you use air bake trays. Okay. I think we're ready to put these in. Sorry guys. It's like only me and the macaron shells at this point when I get obsessed. If you're doing airbrushing after they're baked, if you're into like personalizing for custom orders, then you definitely want it to be smooth as well, because any type of design or painting on top is going to be affected if it has a rough top, right? It's not going to look as nice. Okay, here are these. Just joined. Hi, Marie. Sorry. I'm going to show case. So again, these ones are still wet. I'm going to put this in the oven. Drop my temperature down to 275, and then my timer to 12 minutes. And then I'll kind of check on them. This one cooks so fast relative to the big oven. It's a Profile General Electric, GE, and there. It's like a microwave on top. It's not a double oven. And then just, you kind of have to find where your heat source is. But if it's coming from the top or the bottom. But I like to bake on the middle rack, and then I'll have my oven thermometer inside hanging. Super important to have an oven thermometer as you're learning your macarons. Even after learning, I mean, like, I wouldn't bake without it, just because I depend on being able to look and know, oh, did my oven shoot up? Because it's so temperamental. It can all of a sudden shoot up one time, and the other times it's flat and beautiful and stays right where I want it. So if you don't have an oven thermometer and you're trying to make macarons, I would say go buy one right now. It's really important. It's going to help you answer so many questions about why they're lopsided or cracking, or, you know. Okay, so let me see what you guys have said. I'll wash my hands. I have a freezer full of ice cream sandwich max. Oh my gosh, you do? Why am I so bad? I have a freezer full of shells. Like, I need to fill them and give them away. I hate how much, like, I'll try things and then not finish. I feel like it's very, okay. I'm gonna answer questions. If you guys have questions about anything. To me, it could be the way I'm holding it. So I'm gonna just go back. Hurts my hand. Brandy. Say I'm making. So you pushing and going around. Huh. I don't. Still in Alaska. Yes, I am still in Alaska. We love it here. It's been really pretty this August. We had a terrible summer with like 7 days of sun. But like it's 60s now and sunny, and the sun still is up till like 9:30, 9:40 p.m. It's gorgeous. I'm excited for some winter, I'm gonna regret saying this, but I'm excited for some darkness, because after like a summer of the sun not really going down like we're used to, like it doesn't get completely dark, it just feels kind of manic-y. So it'll be nice to have cozy, get some like twinkle lights up and feel cozy in the darkness for a little while. I think I need to watch the way, yeah, just be, Brandy, back to the spatula hurting you. Just kind of be cognizant of how you're holding it. If you're like gripping it super tight, you want more your wrist to be that strong hold, because you're gonna be like pulling with your wrist. And then you have that wrist motion with the folding, right? You don't want to grip too hard. Okay. So Tina, most of your macarons are lopsided. Ugh. Do you flip your trays, Tina, upside down to help with airflow? Do you use silicone mats with air bake trays? I do when I'm using them. So here's my combination. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do today. Here's my combination of air bake tray. It's a Tefal brand air bake tray. It's on my Amazon storefront if you're interested. Or I think I got them at actual Target. So Target has them too. Look for Tefal. And then these are the mats that I like for them, because they're two-thirds quarter, like full sheet tray kind of thing, like 2/3 of a full sheet tray. So they fit in your home oven typically, at least in more of the United States. I think European ovens might be smaller, so you have to watch out for that. But they are this nice big like you can get a lot more in your oven at once, since we have to bake one tray at once usually, depending on our ovens, is great. So I just have to use a higher temperature when I'm using silicone and an air bake, because air bake are not super good conductors, right? The whole point is that they heat it up slowly, which is great for no rest, but then you can end up with these concave bottoms. So your shells look great on the top, and then you lift it up and it's like not flush with the mat, and it's like this. And you're like, where's the inside? That's because the heat wasn't hot enough underneath. So I usually bake them around 310 Fahrenheit instead of, or like 305, 310 instead of 300. Not too much difference, but it helps them be full still and not have those concave bottoms. Hi from Vietnam. Salted peanut butter ice cream. Oh my goodness. Celia, that sounds amazing. Chocolate ice cream and chocolate mac shells. I need to make some chocolate macarons. I haven't made chocolate shells in forever. Marie, yes, I am so thankful for this space. I can't even tell you. Like, whew. If you've watched my videos from, California, Pasadena, we lived in like a 700 square foot home for those 7 years, and it worked. It was fine. I made my business from there, but it is really nice to be appreciative of the space we have now. Tina, so if it's super humid where you live, then you definitely want to try not having to rest for too long, because the more the humidity can reach your macarons, the more likely they can destroy it. So if you have air bake trays, that will help with your lopsided macarons. And if you don't want to purchase something new, because I totally get that, then you might have to rest them even longer, but make sure you have some type of fan overhead that's drying them out and kind of keeping the humidity from resting and kind of absorbing into your shells. Let's see how we're doing. So these are my resting shells. Ooh, this is hot. My oven over here, my feet are exploding, so I'm gonna flip this tray and give that a second to, I don't have a thermometer in here, and sometimes it just goes wild, but I'm gonna flip it to give it some time to just aerate, lose some heat. Whew. We'll see. Let's see. Yeah, you're welcome. I put 2 thermometers in my oven so I can make sure the front and back are the same. Linda, that is extra. I love it. I need more thermometers. I would love to have 17 thermometers in my oven just to know, like, I mean, at a certain point, you're like, okay, this is my hot spot area. Like, you get it, but it just is fun to know, right? And to have that knowledge of, like, this is how high this spot goes and I need to watch out. So these are the resting shells. I have my pan turned upside down with a silicone mat. This is a pretty thick silicone mat, not the best conductor of heat. And then having this upside down isn't the best conductor of heat either. So you have to watch out for concave shells with this as well. I still cook at 300 Fahrenheit, typically turns out great. You just want to be aware of, because not all silicone mats are the same. You want to be aware of your temperature, and if you do have a problem, how to solve it. So with a thicker mat, you might need to raise the temperature in your oven. Mine goes up enough where I'm not too worried. But it's still a little bit sticky, I want more of like a matte look. They're still pretty shiny. So I'll wait a little bit longer, a couple more minutes. So if we use an air bake tray, should we use a higher temperature? Yes, Maria. I mean, it depends on where you start off in your temperature anyways. Like if you're typically at a 300 Fahrenheit too. So when I do regular trays like this, I put in at 300, I drop to 275. When I'm doing a tray like this, I put in at 300 and leave at 300, and then it shoots up a little bit, and I'm okay with that because I like that extra heat. So you kind of have to play around, but it goes up to about 310, 315 in the internal temp, but I don't raise the oven temperature. I don't want to confuse you guys, so I'm sorry if that's confusing. But does that make sense for that? Like, basically, you want to keep looking, turn your light on if you can see through your door. Check that thermometer and just make sure you don't want it to drop too low if you're using the air bake tray, because it will cause those concave shells typically. This oven just turns off like as soon as the timer goes off, so I'm just checking to make sure I'm ready for that. 30 more seconds. I'm gonna add 1 more minute, so it'd be a total of 13 minutes. Let's see here. Does the air bake tray work for French method? Grace, yes. I used to always use my air bake for the French method. I love not resting my macarons. In this particular environment, I have noticed that I'm not loving the texture in this oven with my French macarons, and I think I just need to play more with the temperature. But it was a little chewier than like that crunch and soft. So I switched to just liking my aluminum pans again. But you can definitely use this for the air bake for all versions of your macarons if you want to use no rest. I love it for Italian method because I don't get lopsided macarons with the slow rise of heat, and then you don't have to keep the temperature super low and then not have full macarons after. I'm gonna do like 30 more seconds. On here. I'll just like do it in my head. Okay, bake just 1 tray at a time. Maria, I can only, I bake 1 tray at a time. It yields the best result. You can do a dance and like flip trays around, and I have a video on that. And that could be totally worth it if you're doing large production. So definitely check out that video. It's like baking hack, I think is part of the title. I don't know if it says like secret baking hack, but it's basically a dance of put it in and then move the tray down and put a new tray in. For my oven, it was better to have that new tray up on top so airflow is better, and then it can rise and not crack with the other ones. But then it takes so long to bake that second tray fully that I felt like I was almost taking the same amount of time as just baking 1 tray at a time. So it really depends, but some ovens can bake like 3 trays at a time. So you just have to try. And it's unfortunate because just put a few shells on each one. And granted, it won't mimic doing a full tray, like, because it won't be evaporating as much or like really depicting what it will be like with 3 full trays or something in your oven. But you can get an idea if which rack cracks, or which one maybe browns a little bit more on the bottom or on the top because it's closer to the heat source. You know, you kind of have to play that game. But some people have ovens that you can put 3 trays in, no problem, and come out beautifully. So that's a mystery to me. 1 tray at a time, 2 chicken. Yeah. Chocolate and with Nutella buttercream. Yes, please. Okay. These are more matte finished. I am not having anything kind of stick up on me. I could rub my finger on it. I'm gonna bake these. Well, that one did. After I said that one. It usually is so much more dry in here. I am not wanting to wait longer, so we'll see if we get some cracks in these. But I'm gonna bake these. So I turn it down to 75, just so it doesn't shoot so high up. And for this, I usually do about 9 and 9 or 10 and 10. It depends on the season, how moist it is in the environment. All right, these turned out interesting. Let's see. Really full. They're hot still, so they're hard to play with. But super full, but the feet are tiny because they grew so fast and then collapsed on itself. So if you have, here it is. If you have if you're watching in your oven and your feet grow really fast and tall, you can pretty much guarantee that they're gonna fall fast as well. And they're gonna be pretty small and ruffled feet at the end. Once your heat was too high. That's what happened here, unfortunately. And I'm gonna wait for them to cool a little bit and then I'll take them off and I'll be able to show better because they're really fragile still. Actually, I'll take it off of the hot pan and have it cool on the granite. Tastes really good though, you guys. With that King Arthur. And if you could tell, there wasn't a crunch, right? Because it's still soft and it's not cooled yet. But I'll show, hopefully they'll have some type of crunch once it's cooled, and I can show you like what's typical of your macarons. Lately, if I bake, they are over baked and cool. Celia, I have the same thing with this toaster oven. I don't know which oven you use, but I cannot wait till it's solid or else it's overbaked. They have to be a slight bit jiggly. And I think it's just temperature, different seasons. I don't know, but I really want to know because that happens to me too, where all of a sudden things that used to take this amount of time are done faster or are taking longer. And all I can attribute it to is the external environment. Okay, it's Vu, is it, you said that in Vietnam, your macarons can't dry outdoors because of the hot and humid environment. Makes complete sense. Do you oven dry your macarons then? I started sliding the mat off the hot pan and cool on the counter. That is a good point, Amy. To not keep them cooking after the fact. great. I only bake one tray at a time. Hi, Seth. Reupholstering a chair and ottoman. Yes, I love it. All about the DIY stuff. Marie, you remember the old kitchen? Yeah. It was beautiful. Now there's like a park where I used to live. And it's like, while my kids were small, that would have been really nice to have a park right by our house. They developed a lot more. Okay. Okay. If I haven't answered your question, you have to do a class on ice cream. That would be fun, Marie. Ice cream macaron class. I feel like it would need to be a fairly long process though, in order to like have, because the custard has to cool. I'll look into how that could be established as a class. But okay, Tina, you tried flipping the tray and it didn't work. Yeah, definitely try the air bake trays for you, or oven drying like I was just talking about. You can pop those macarons in a very low oven, like 200 Fahrenheit for like 2 minutes. Take them out, let them rest on the counter, put your oven temp back up, make sure it's preheated all the way, and then they're dry after the 2 minutes, and then you pop them back in. Or if you have 2 ovens, you could dry in one and have the other one already preheated, and then put your tray right into the next one. I can't fit half sheet trays in this toaster oven. It's just these. I can fit a smaller version or quarter sheet trays. So I guess I could do quarter sheet, but that would take forever to bake all the macs on quarter sheet trays. Maybe I do. I feel like I missed somebody's. Okay. Ooh, this is a good time to show you guys something. So, oh, thank you. For these, if you see here, that one kind of stuck to the mat. I thought it because it wasn't cooled all the way. But, well, never mind. It's coming off. If your macarons aren't coming off smooth, then you can put them in the freezer for a little bit, the whole mat. If this is cooled, which it's not cold enough, get a different sheet pan, put this on a sheet pan, pop it in the freezer for a little bit, and that's gonna help release your macarons from your thing smoothly. Now let's see, let's get good lighting. Sorry guys. This way from the window so you're not backlit. So the feet are small, kind of ruffly, but not like protruding ruffle. So I mean, they're good, right? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're great. They're not the most pretty feet, like they're not the cleanest, but they definitely work. So here's another. See, I mean, they're not bad, right? And if I were selling my macarons, great. You know, no need to throw away. They're just not as clean as a little bit lower of oven temperature. Is that? I'm not sure if that's like, yeah. Let's see if there's like a bite to this. Now that it's cooled a little bit. Do you hear that? That crunch? Is that, and then like if I try to break it open now, it kind of tears at the top, and that's normal. You want it to be sturdy enough to be able to fill and not have them, but I feel like when people crack them open and it's not like a perfect like break, like you see on Instagram. They'll think it's over baked or shattered or something. And I mean, that's normal. It'll happen. I'm gonna go flip the tray. Oh, look, me and me. It's weird. I'm gonna do 8 more minutes. And then let's see. Amy, do you taste the nice King Arthur almond? It is heavenly, guys. This King Arthur flower, yes. Celia. It's like, it just has more flavor. I feel it's been a really long time since I've tried Trader Joe's, but I feel like it's comparable. I would trust Celia that she's had them together like closer, right? And that she's compared better, that it tastes better. But I feel like you can't go wrong with either if Trader Joe's is a better price point, but the King Arthur is really yum. The texture is good. They're pretty. I'm hoping these ones look a little bit cleaner as they're rising in my oven. So, side by side. See, look at you. She's done a side by side comparison. So let's trust that King Arthur is superior. And you should get yours. No, I'm just Brady. How do I know when it's ready to get out of the oven? Okay, so great question. Usually, I mean, it depends a lot on your oven because like you saw in that little toaster oven, it was ready in 13 minutes. In this, it's going to be more like 18 minutes. So it's hard to know. But like we were talking earlier, if you see a ton of movement in your shell, let me show. So if you look at the feet, that's where most of that moisture is headed out, right? So if you can like move the top, is that visible? Nope, it's not because it's too far away. I don't want to let out too much air. But if you can move that top and jiggle it, it probably needs like a minute or two more. Usually I start at like 16 to 18 minutes and then you can kind of add minutes on. I used to bake for 21 minutes. So don't be worried if your oven takes a long time and you're like, I'm at 22 minutes and it's still super moist. Like go by the look and then you'll start to feel it. So I did 8 and 8. So I'm starting with 16 minutes and then I might add like a minute or two more. Yes, more fillings. I hear you. I'm going to. Let's do it. Yes, I might even do, so I'm going to do an Italian method macaron class, which I've never done. But in October, I'm going to showcase that for those who are struggling with the Italian method. And then I had some great advice from a friend message about filling classes. So I'm gonna try that. Yeah, Brady, yes, for sure. Just kind of, if there's a ton of movement in that shell, once you like take the top and wiggle, give it a couple more minutes and kind of just keep testing. And do it on the same one so you don't manipulate too many of your macarons. You don't want to ruin them. And try not to open the oven too many times because that's going to affect the bake as well. Okay. I think that I go from one thing to the other. I'm sorry. I'm very flighty with your questions. I see one thing and then I start getting excited. Can we mix 2 different brands of almond flour? Yeah, I mean, why not? If they both work separate, why wouldn't they work together? If you want to go through the effort. Like I feel like that's an extra step, so it's more time. But that could be worth it if you can get the flavor and then the price down a bit. Oh, Amy, okay. Croissant class maybe this winter, and then some Italian method and fillings. I love it. Give me more ideas, guys. What do you want to learn? I am pretty reserved. Like I have a fillings ebook for my macarons, but it's a lot of cottage food safe versions. So it's a lot of American buttercreams and different ways to infuse flavors into very basic recipes, which is great if you're running a business, because I hope that it instills more just like power of like, oh, I can manipulate this recipe to make it this flavor and stuff like that. That's all cottage food approved. But there are more intricate things that maybe you can't sell, like custards and things that I've steered clear from. Oh, a Queen Amman class would be amazing. I need to learn how to make those first. I mean, I've read and I've helped assist my friend who owns a bakery do hers, but I've never made them on my own. So I do want to make those. Those are one of my favorite pastries. But yeah, I'm also leaning towards trying to sell again my own stuff now that we've been here and we're setting roots here in Anchorage. So I'm hoping to, you know, recertify my Serve Safe and find a space to possibly sell the goods again, which would change everything. But my kids really are like always trying to plan my menu, and I loved them being a part of my farmers markets when we were in Pasadena. So it's just a fun family thing to have, a unit, and everyone can kind of put in their own thoughts, and it's just like a bonding experience more so than a money maker. If you guys are in the food industry, you know it doesn't provide too much. Okay. Oh, thank you, Maria. It's honestly, the classes are like highlights. I wish I could just do them in person. Like I wish we could all be together, and I want like a space to teach as well as like a little side of selling the goods. But teaching is my passion. I mean, I was a preschool teacher before I went back to school and went to pastry school. So a little different, but I just love that interaction between people. And so it's hard, at least I get to see your chats here, but like it's really great on Zoom because then we can actually interact and have a conversation. But I would love to be in the kitchen with you in a non-creepy way. Okay. Yeah, Linda, of course. I know sometimes we can get the shatter of the top, and you think it's when you're trying to break it once it's cooled. And then you're like, crap, I overbaked it or something. It's not right because you see all these perfectly, and sometimes they'll even score. People will take a knife and score. Sorry, that's really annoying. Score the cookie before they break it open so it doesn't crack like that too. So there's lots of things. If they taste good, once you're maturing your cookie, like you don't have to compare to what you've seen on IG and such. Okay. Hey Google, set a 1 minute timer. Just gonna do like 30 more seconds. I just like her digital countdown because this one doesn't have that. 30 more seconds. I can smell it too, and especially with the King Arthur flour, you can smell the almonds getting toasty, and then you know like you're almost done with your cookies. Cookies ready. That's what my daughter used to say when she was little. Yes, that's correct. If it's shattering, like just from touching it too, then you've got an issue. And if it's sticky, it's probably too chewy and it's gonna be over mixed, your macaronage. But a lot of the times when we break it, it will shatter once it's cooled. Can you recommend going to? Let me check out what you just said. Okay, Google, stop. Okay. Also, this new flour is a little more moist than I'm used to, so that could be also like needing to bake a little bit longer, or using a different flour can change the way it bakes too, like if you're changing your ingredients. Okay, let me see. Faith, you had said, can you recommend anyone going to culinary art school this day and age with all the good? Faith, I'm gonna be honest. Going to culinary school was a highlight. So much fun. Some of the best days of my life. So I would definitely recommend it. There's nothing like having instructors looking right over you and helping you learn not only like how to properly do the mixing of something and do a full recipe, but also to like tell you the etiquette of the kitchen from someone who's worked in the kitchen. Like it's just different when you're there. And I think it's an amazing experience. It's hard if it's just going to be a pastime and you want to go to culinary school. Like if you have the income, that's great. But if it's something like, then maybe just classes online and working out of your own kitchen and doing online courses is worth it. So it really depends on what you want out of it. But I tell you, the people I met in school, as well as the experiences that we got to, volunteer at different events and stage at different restaurants and all that kind of stuff, it's just something that doesn't compare from doing it in your home. Okay, let's see here. For my no-bake method, I use Brandy, that's awesome. So, did you get is the Ninja one the one that's at Costco? That 10-in-1? Like, is it an air fryer and all that kind of stuff? So, Brandy's saying in the comments that she uses the, I want that Swiss meringue buttercream. So, first, let me finish with Brandy. She's saying that she uses her dehydrator setting to dry them out. That's awesome. And then increases temp to 290 and bakes them in the same machine. That's awesome. Okay. Now we all got to go get a Ninja air fryer, or I mean Ninja 10-in-1. It's not just an air fryer. Okay. Yeah, right? It's super dialed in. I like that. Decorating the shells class. Ooh, decorating. See, Linda, I want a decorating class too. I would like to take one. I am not super detail oriented in my decor, so I feel like I would benefit from seeing someone else decorate their shells. I mean, I have designs and I'll do like little character macs, but that's not my strong point. But I would love to also partake in that class if you find one. I went to the French pastry school in Chicago. So it was a intensive, I forget how many weeks it was, but it was a class and it was like 6 hours a day. And then I stayed on and interned for their first bread program and also for another program. And then they sent me to France and I got to work in bakeries in France. So it was, I think, an 8 or 10 week program, but I ended up staying for like a year with them because I got to do other things. Now I really want to check It was like from July, no, it must have been longer than 8 weeks because it was from July to December. So that's definitely longer than 8 weeks. It's like a 6-month program. I'm so, but I don't know. After COVID happened, the French pastry school switched to an online course kind of thing, and I'm wondering if they still have classes live or not. But I also looked and almost went to the Art Academy in Chicago, which also has a culinary program. There's Le Cordon Bleu, which was more, it had savory and pastry, and I was only interested in pastry, so I didn't do that. But yeah, there's lots of good places to go. I was in the city of Chicago at that time, so it was like lots of options. But wherever you may be, I'm sure there's an equivalent of that kind of thing. If it shatters and falls off, is that overbaked? Linda, what part? Like if the top of the shell shatters and falls, like as you just lift it, like off the mat? Here are the other shells. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Guys, I don't think it's focusing. I don't know. Here's the first tray. Here's the first tray, and here's the second tray. See how they're taller and cleaner looking? These ones are more ruffled looking. I like this look better, but this isn't bad, right? I'm just being nitpicky here. This is the toaster oven, and this is the little convection. I'm sorry. This is the big oven, and this is the little toaster oven. Try to cut it. They're still too soft. There's more gap in this one. You see that gap in between? I mean, it's fine. I'm not mad about it. If you've seen my content before, I don't care so much about it. You do this and the gap is gone, and then you have more room for filling. Like, that's fine. But big oven with regular tray, yes. This was big oven, upside down tray. Yeah, we love a gap, right? So yes. Macarons are supposed to be, well, typically. I'm not gonna say supposed to. Everyone has their own preference. Oh, honestly though, that flour is really good. It's a slight bit more chewy, but it also could have been my macaronage. Maybe I over macaronaged a little bit, but they didn't spread out too much. Here's the tray. If you can see, the feet are nice. They're taller, cleaner than my first tray. The oven temp was more even Steven than this, where like this, look at how ruffled the back of the, because the back of the oven gets the hottest in this one. Look at how ruffled out this one was. So again, would I sell these? Yes, I would. They are cute, right? They're cute, they work. They're little ruffled bottoms, but I tend to like the straight down feet a little bit more. Like that. Just a little taller. Same batter, different oven. Okay, gap is good. I'm gonna try not to eat them all in front of you guys. Another reason why, yes, great question, Maria. I will hit on that in a second. This is a French steel pan, like I said earlier. It fits into my little Oster toaster oven. And it is a great conductor of heat. It heats up like nobody's business. So that's also why these tend to be super full macarons, because it's getting hot, but that's also when the feet aren't as good. So it's hard to get them all in one. Okay, if you want tall feet and you're struggling with that, you could rest longer. The longer you rest, the more it's going to have that nice solid shell or skin over your macaron shells, and it will allow for a nice rise. You want to make sure you don't over macaronage. You could try like macaronaging like 2 strokes less every time to see, and then that will make your macarons rise a little bit more. If you like severely undermix your batter, your feet will get pretty big, especially if you rest, but then it's not gonna have a smooth top, so you have to kind of combat with that. And then higher oven temperature to a certain degree will help your feet get taller. But you need to not go so high that it rises too quickly like this tray did and then collapses on itself. So it's a little tricky with the oven temp one, but it could help. If you're baking at like 275, try 300 and it could help. Yes, I feel like all the main bakeries have those ruffled feet. Like it's typical, especially when you like have really good ovens that produce a good amount of heat, and you're gonna get a ruffled foot, and that's worth it if you can bake a crap ton of macarons at once in these big, ovens, instead of one at a time to get these beautiful, straight feet macarons. Like that's not typical in high production, because they're going to be producing in restaurant quality or like commercial quality equipment, and they're gonna have really good heat conduction and be able to, but it's gonna be hotter. So falls off after filled. Oh, okay. So Linda, if you are filling your macarons and then they're shattering after that, you're probably over baking, or it could just be over mixing your batter, which causes them to have brittle tops. Yeah, so that's something to look out for. As long as they taste good. I love that. Patricia, yes. Let's taste good. I have to rest a long time with Italian method. Interesting, Amy. Yeah. Sorry, I just got an order. Thank you. If you're watching and you ordered my ebook, thank you so much. Again, for those who have purchased the ebooks, I always say this in my newsletters, but not everyone is a part of my newsletters, which is fine. But if you have questions and you've purchased an ebook, please do not hesitate to email me. I love troubleshooting through your questions, and I appreciate the support of the purchase, and I just want you to know that email is best. Don't DM me on Instagram if we've never chatted before. I don't usually see those messages, but email, yes, I will see right away and I can get back to you. Okay, so we were saying tips for higher feet. Oh, Amy, you were saying you have to rest a lot longer with your Italian method. That's interesting, because I cannot rest my Italian method long. I try to do no rest for my first tray. Second tray I put in right away, because the longer I rest my Italian method max, the more likely they are lopsided. So I have the opposite issue. That's interesting. That's why I prefer French method. It's more consistent for me. Italian just doesn't like our home ovens, I feel like. But definitely the two things I found for Italian method that have helped a lot. Air bake tray, really helpful for even feet, and then not trying to mimic a stiff French meringue. Just having a medium peaked meringue was great for Italian method. Ooh, how do you do multiple trays then, Celia? Ooh, but Brandy, you can bake 2 trays at once in the Ninja? Oh, is it Simon? I'm so glad that the content helped. Yay! I love hearing positive macaron stories because these cookies can be so disheartening that it's amazing when people are getting it, because I feel like it is a struggle, right? It takes so much of our resources to get them down, and then once we do, it's sweet, sweet love. I don't know. It's sweet redemption. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. But obviously, even once we hit it, and then we can have fails and such. But the key thing is just knowing once we do have a mistake in the future, it's like, oh, okay, I know what I did wrong. Like that's when you know you're a very good macaron maker, is we all fail, but knowing why we failed. Oh, I cried myself to sleep. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope they were happy tears the second time. Macarons can seriously, especially if you are doing them for an order and they continue to give us hell, it's like, oh, you just want to break down. So I'm glad you had success. Double ovens. I need double ovens. Well, let me just be thankful for what I have. I've got my little toaster oven. Sorry, I just don't want to sound. You guys are the best. They do, Amy, macarons do keep everyone humble. I mean, I've heard so many people be like, I was at a Michelin star restaurant and they served a macaron and it was completely hollow. You know, like you get so many of those stories, and we're all just trying to do our best. And there's also this thing called perfection that bakers tend to like lean towards, and we just are not helped by Instagram and all of the like perfectly, you know, all those visuals that we see. So just know, if you go to a bakery, macarons are not going to look that perfect. There will be cracked macarons. There will be lopsided macarons. There will be hollow macarons, because you have to sell everything to make your money worth it for your overhead. Okay. It's when he sees me, he's like, oh no, it's macaron day. I'm going to go away. Never upset the macaron gods. I love that. I know. Say a little prayer to them. All right, friends. Oh, I had made this. I was just trying. If you were here in the beginning, it's been a long time. I was making a ganache. Let's see what the texture is. This is my first time making this one. That is gonna be super nice, a super nice pipeable. This one is my milk chocolate ganache recipe base in my ebook, and then I took out some of the cream and added passion fruit concentrate or juice. It was actually a passion fruit simple syrup from Judy's. So I'm gonna try it. And but look at that texture is really nice, right? It's gonna be really pipeable, and it will push down beautifully between the shells. I love that. But I don't know if the passion fruit's gonna sing through. I got way too much on that spoon, so I don't want to take that much, but It's milk chocolate. I think I could up the amount of passion fruit in it and decrease some more cream. But I like it. Because milk chocolate is so sweet and that passion fruit is tart and it comes in at the end. It's a nice finish. I just don't, it doesn't sing passion fruit yet. But once I nail the recipe, I'll definitely share. But yeah, if you have my fillings ebook, then check out the milk chocolate ganache recipe. And you can play around with your liquid. So if it's cream based, take a little cream out and put a raspberry puree, or I prefer raspberries with dark chocolate, but passion fruit goes really well with milk chocolate. So I just, you know, you can play around, manipulate it, or infuse your cream. That's always one of my favorites. Infuse cream with an herb and then use it into your chocolate. Here's the passion fruit from Judy's, the simple syrup. My fillings ebook, Marie, is on my website. It's www.bakedtoujour.com, and there's like an ebook little section. Ooh, yes, Amy, fruity caramels, amazing. You just have to watch out for consistency. If you take away all the cream and you replace it with all like juice, orange juice is a fun one. Apple juice is another one. Then it's definitely, it will definitely be runnier than a cream, which is a thicker base. Just know that. But dang, is it good. It's so fun. A fun, fruity. I applaud your resolve. Okay, so honest time, like chocolate is never my go-to. This was actually very good. Like I love dark chocolate, but milk chocolate is like, it's yummy, but I can't do too much in my mouth at once. So that's why. Okay, okay. What am I gonna do? I will fill one, because I feel like I never fill on the lives. Let me fill one and then kind of show how you sandwich it together, since this is a back to the basics, and then we'll be done. Got lots of your time today. Thank you guys for being here. So again, you can, sandwich with buttercream and, like we were saying, lemon, like a lemon buttercream and a lemon curd in the center. You can do so much with the flavors. Oh my God, I personally never used curds because I couldn't when I was selling my products, so I never got used to it. But if you can come up with like a nice thicker curd that's not going to be too mushy added to it, or if you're eating them right away, then curds have such a nice texture. But just know that the more moist your filling is, the soggier your macaron will get over time. So that's kind of the kicker. If you're using a cream cheese frosting, like let's say, let me find this home. If you're doing like a red velvet macaron, just know that cream cheese, the enzymes in it and like the moistness in it breaks down things fast, and it's going to make your macaron soggy quickly. But if you over baked your macarons a little bit, could really help in the texture. So just know, like, it can help and hurt you. Okay, so here is a pretty pairing. You just take one, and what I do when it's only one filling is just plops a little dollop of daisy in the center, right? And then you're going to push down, and then you have a cute little beautiful rim, right? what I see a lot of people doing these days, which is really popular. This is from my other tray, is they want that like really fat look. So if you like a lot of filling, you could do a rope around, like a dam, like that, and that's going to give like even more volume. And then if you're filling with something else, put it in the center, or they just kind of like plop in the center. And then you top it. And then you have like more of that like very exaggerated filling, you know? I don't think I put the right top on. It's too late now. But yeah, that will give you that look. I prefer a smaller amount, but this does look really pretty. It's up to what you like. Yes. So this one was the wrong, I don't want this top on. So I'm gonna try, this was the one that was supposed to be the right size. No, maybe not. Either way, you get the point. It has that nice, like, again, I'm like behind lip, backlit. Here we go. Is that a little better? It looks very chubby and cute. Like, that looks like a solid purchase if you're buying this. Yeah, Dawn, it's good too. I'm enjoying, I mean, the texture, and I just made it right before the live, so like 10:30, and it's already set up. So, yes. I really like, if you're going to do ganache, like I like my base ganache recipes. So I've got, this one doesn't even have butter in it. It has a little glucose or like a corn syrup in it, and that's what's gonna give it that nice texture. And then what's really good, if you want to splurge for good chocolate, Calabo Gold chocolate. I really like the recipe for that I have in my ebook. Like, you can't get cuter than a macaron, right? They're just so dang cute. I don't know. But if you're worried also about what we were talking about earlier, if you have like a huge gap, push these in a little bit, just gently, right? Push them in, and then you fill all the way up, and then you're going to, like, especially if your macarons are gonna be outside, sorry, I keep going, you could do like only like filling your hole, and then you can't even see the filling from the outside, which some people might not like, but then you don't have to worry. So there's a good amount of filling in there, but because you have it pushed down each way, you don't have to worry about your fillings like seeping out if you're doing a tower or something. So that would work too. It all depends on what's best for, you know, your how you're displaying your macarons. If you have a case, if you're doing a tower, like this could be really helpful, because this may make a huge mess if it's a tower and it's outside and it starts to weep, right? It's gonna get real ugly. So, depending on what you want. It's like a little surprise. It's interesting because with the King Arthur almond flour, it's more about the shell too. Like, this hasn't had time to mature, but the shell's texture is better. I hate to say that because I really like the price point of Costco. But either way, the whole cookie, you can tell the difference of slightly better quality. I will say it. Sorry to my customers who had Blue Diamond the whole time. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna say goodbye and thank you guys so much for being here. Fill it. Yes. And if you guys have questions that I didn't answer, you can put them in the comment section below. And like if you're watching later, just let me know and I will try to check. School is back in. This is always what I say. And I really stink at it, but I'm going to try to check comments better. I had somebody message me a photo of their comment on YouTube, on Instagram, and I saw it. And that was a great way to get me to answer it too. So it's just too many stinking social media ways to, I can't find them all. So I hate that because I want to be accessible. So either way, try, leave your comments is the moral of the story. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to try mixing. So it'll be Amy. You have a good day too, Princess Sazi. I always just say princess. I'm trying to. Thank you, Celia, for being here. Linda, thank you. Judy, Marie. You're going to pre-mix your dries, Amy. Amy, are you talking about mixing in the mixer? Oh, Patricia, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Go, Patricia, go. I'm cheering you on. Thinking about you as you do it. Same with you, Simon. Okay, or Simone. Is Simon? Simone. It might be Simone. Thank you, guys. Storage containers. Oh, got it. Yes, pre-mixing is awesome. If you guys are trying, I cried. Oh, Patricia, I will hopefully happy tears. That's so sweet. Nice. Yeah, Amy has a good point. If you guys are wanting to do large production, having your dries just ready for you in deli containers in your dry storage area, really good head start. It takes longer than we think to like sift it all and like measure it out. So that's a great tip. Okay, guys. Much love to all. Happy baking. Definitely need more passion fruit in this when it's with the shell. So I'll work on that. And thank you for your guys' tips and everything for future classes and information. Love that. So thank you for sharing with me and for being here. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Happy baking.